Well, hello and welcome to another Halvik Sons video. Okay, well, I'm taking over from my last video that I did when I'm actually still working on it, where I show me rebuilding this. It's a P51d Mustang, a joint venture from American airplane, British engine. And it was missing the landing gear, one external fuel tank, the prop, and an exhaust stack, and of course the canopy. So it's pretty much back together. I still got to put the tail wheel on it and co-pilot, and then cover the machine gun port. So let me explain briefly what I'm doing. What you see here is models that I bought in the early 70s. And they got destroyed for a lot of various reasons. Sometimes the glue gets old and parts just fall off. Sometimes I've moved, two times since I built these in early 70, probably 1971, 72, right around there. I remember I blew my knee out in football, and couldn't really do a whole lot, so I got into model building, which is something I did back in the late 60s. That's how old I am. So as a matter of fact, I originally bought a few of these models in the late 60s over at a Savon's drugstore that was probably less than a mile away from my house. I would ride my bicycle up there. I'd buy an ice cream cone, and I would also buy a model. And those were the first series. I wish I still had some of those. I don't have any of those. Then to rekindle that past, I bought them all again. Well, more than my original. I think the original, the only one I bought was the P51 because it was so awesome, in the Stuka because it just looked really cool. And then in my second time around, I went to the same drugstore, Savon's drugstore, still there. As a matter of fact, I think it's still there. And I bought the repops of all of those 1965 monogram models. I believe Savon had a exclusive for monogram because I think that's all they had there. I didn't see Revell, or I just don't recall that there was Revell or anything else, just monogram. So second time around, of course, I was working then. I had a car. I was driving around anytime. And then, like I said, I broke my leg. And so while I was recouping, I would drive down to Savon's and I'd buy these models. And I built probably 8 or so. These are 4 of the originals that I built and got destroyed. This one, almost put it back to complete, as you can see here. And the interior on it is pretty detailed. And I was airbrushing back then, so the yellow, if you can notice, it's pinpoint, it's accurate. So I never did finish it though. I didn't put the decals on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish it. So what I did was I bought a box on eBay of the model that I remembered back in 1972 or thereabouts. And then I'm going to do the same for all of these. The problem with, for instance, the Thunderbolt. I bought it because I was going to start on it next. Unfortunately, this is the Razorback, which was an earlier version of the Thunderbolt. I don't know if you can see it, but if you look there on the side, the back of the plane goes all the way up, and it goes up into the canopy. That was the first series Razorback, which this is the second series Razorback. This is the original one that I bought, and this was a bubble top. So I can't use a canopy on that. I could use the landing gear and the props because everything else is pretty much the same. But why dissect it if I'm going to buy another kit? And I already did, and it's on its way here. So this one is coming soon. This one, interesting story about this particular model. Of course, this is the Stuka. This is the tank busting version. In the hands of this pilot, I don't remember his name, but he took out over 50 Russian tanks, mostly the T-34s. And it used to have a swastika on the tail, which a lot of the monograms later did not carry that. This was the last time they started to carry it that I know of. As a matter of fact, if you go to Max's models, search that in YouTube, or I'll see if I can put a link for you. Max had a video where he talks about this in detail, and he's absolutely right. And I agree with him 100%. They should have never omitted it. I mean, you're making a model. You should make it exact. This particular, and the reason why I bring this up, this particular model is hard to well, it's available, but it's expensive. Probably $10 more than these. These are about $30 a pop now, which originally I think I paid less than $5 a piece for them. In my first series models, I remember there being like $1 or $2. The first ones I ever bought. This one here is about $10 more than that. These go for a 40 plus if you can. They're not as plentiful, the Stuka Insignia one, but I found one. I ordered it and it's on its way. And then this one I'm working on right now too. This is the British Spitfire. It's missing some stuff, but I actually found these pieces. The canopy, the pilot, which I painted, the props in too bad a shape. So I went ahead and ordered this. It's on its way to get the pieces to fix that. I just want to rebuild these and redisplay them, mostly because at that time I was really into it. I mean, I was laid up pretty bad, football injury, like I said, and I was detailing it with pretty accurate painting. This one's got, it's hard to kind of see it, but it's got variations of green on it, and then the sky blue, and then the shading that I did here. This is when I was playing with my spray gun, and I got pretty good with it. So these models came out pretty good, and I kind of want to, but not even if they didn't come out good, they're not the greatest, they're not the best that I've seen out there, but they're mine. They're the ones that I did at a time in my life when I needed something else to keep me sane. And it's funny, moving to this ranch and having everything in storage, a lot of my toys are not available to me. So I'm picking up models because this box I ran across, and I have a way to bring this back. And I really do blame Max for that in a good way, because Max in his channel, he has a very unique way of letting you remember, or allowing you to remember, or should I say, making sure you don't forget what it was like to build these when you were younger, those memories that went with it. And that's kind of why I want to bring these back, because this was a time when I needed a distraction, and I got pretty good with them, and I got a lot of compliments. People loved enjoying them. My kids, they used to guess the names of the planes. So these are the only ones I could find, other than a few bombers. I'll talk about that in a minute. But I do remember purchasing more. I just don't know where those models are. They never even made it to box and storage. One of them was a Focke-Wulf. Again, these are all monograms, which, by the way, for 1/48 scale, I really do like monograms, at least this series. I think they repopped it 3 times or 2 times, thereabouts. The originals came out, like I said, in 1965. These are great models. They're very accurate. They've got a lot of detail. I mean, look at this, machine gun bay. Come on. Just great model, very precise to go in well, not too much flash. You know, you don't have to manipulate it. You don't have to kit bash. So this is one that I bought. I don't know what happened to it. This one, gosh, I'm sad that this is gone because I did a lot of great painting on this, just like it is on the box. This is the Tiger Shark, the P40. We made those very famous in China. This one I bought, and I distinctly remember, I never even took it out of the box. I can't find the box. Never made it to storage, never made it to the trip here. Just disappeared. Don't know what happened. But I got it back, and I will build it. And then this one, and of course, this is the Aero Cobra. Russians love this. This was they used it as a tank buster for against the Germans, and it did quite well. This is the Devastator, the TBD-1. This is a very difficult model to build. It's very accurate. It comes with men, a crew, the pilot. This is a fantastic model, very detailed. I loved it. I loved building it. Don't know where it's at. Disappeared. It's gone. Sad, but I got this box back. I paid a lot for this, but I don't care because it makes me happy to have it in my hand. And what's so funny about that is it's probably my most favorite of all these models. And this was one of the worst planes. Well, probably the worst plane America had in World War II. Squadrons of these would go up against Japanese Navy, and they would just get decimated. They were slow. The torpedoes that were in them didn't work really well. A lot of times they would hit ships and not explode. A couple of movies about how bad these were. But on the other hand, when these were first built, I think it was in the early 30s, this was a state-of-the-art plane. This was the first mono wing type fighter bomber that was created in any kind of huge amount. It was pretty good at the time for being a torpedo bomber. But unfortunately, when this Devastator was built, it was built in a time when airplane designs were improving, not by years, not by months, but by weeks or sometimes even days. So within a couple of years, this plane became obsolete. Unfortunately, we had to learn the hard way because it was all we had. So anyway, I've done a lot of searching and purchasing, and I spent a lot of money to get these, and I got a lot more coming. The Hellcat, the Tiger Shark, all the models I remember buying that disappeared. I'm getting them all back. I don't care. There's one. They want over $100 for it now. It's a bomber, twin-engine bomber. The Marauder. Now, I built the Mitchell too, but the Mitchell is very plentiful for some reason. I think it was because of Doolittle's raid. It was very famous. This one was not so famous. This is all I've got left of it. I don't know where the rest of it went. And when you look inside, I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty detailed in there. I did some great work on the detailing of the inside of this. And I never finished it. And then it got destroyed. And this is all I have left. So I found one. The exact one. It has to be the exact one. There's a lot of different Marauders out there. Revell has one, Airfix has one in 1/48 scale, but usually the designs are a little bit different unless you for sure. Revell and Monogram were pretty much the same because I think Revell bought Monogram and I think they use their molds. So you can usually get pretty lucky if you get a Revell, but I wanted that box art too of what I remembered. So getting that particular Marauder This one cost me over $100. Yeah, I know. Anyway, this is my current collection of models I'm going to restore. As you can see, the P51d is pretty much all redone. Got to do a tail wheel, pilot, and decals, and she's ready to display. I'm very excited about that. One other thing too, in my ranch, there's a room that I designated, which is right behind this wall, and it goes the length of this. We call this the Great Hall. This Great Hall is probably, I don't know, I'm not really good with measurements. I would say over 50, probably 60 feet wide, or long, and pretty wide, probably 30 feet wide. The back room is almost the same length, but it's narrower, probably 8 feet wide. And I'm going to make that wall to wall, going from the floor to the ceiling in plexiglass. It's going to be dioramas on shelves for all my models. So it's going to be really cool. And I also, when I was even younger, I remember having toy sets from Marks that also are very expensive. I had the blue and the gray Civil War set, got that. I'm going to do a diorama of that. They all are going to be in my room, and I'm going to show videos of me making that room and just having a blast putting this all together. So anyway, this is kind of what I'm doing now. It's pretty much all that I can do because, like I said, until I get this ranch finished and get everything out of storage, I'm kind of stuck. And had I not found this box and found Max's Models channel, I probably wouldn't even be bothered with this. Well, thank you for watching. Have a great day and a better life. Remember to do more of what makes you happy. See ya.